Welcome, rookies. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. We are stepping right up to the plate to break down the fantastic sport of softball into a clear, easy-to-understand playbook. Because, softball isn't just about swinging a bat. It is fundamentally a game of inches and split-second decisions where every single pitch carries the weight of the entire game. So whether you are completely new to the diamond or you're just looking to sharpen up your strategic understanding, you are in exactly the right place. Let's dive in. But before we jump onto the field, I really want you to get into a highly energetic, focused coaching mindset. We are going to comprehensively learn everything today, from the specific physical gear you wear, all the way to the tactical strategies you need to actually win. And you might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, because understanding the hidden mechanics and the real strategic depth of these rules makes watching and playing the sport immensely more enjoyable. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have a rock-solid grasp of how this striking and fielding game actually works from the ground up. So here is our game plan for today. First, what is softball? We'll hit the origins and history. Second, essential equipment. Third, player positions. And finally, number 4, rules and scoring. Okay, Section 1. What is softball? Let's start right in the dugout and look at the origins and history of this great game. The game has evolved immensely over the last century. While similar sports were definitely being played earlier, the actual name softball didn't exist until 1926. It caught on fast, though. By 1930, the game had spread massively across the United States and Canada, becoming a beloved pastime. Then, in 1934, the Joint Rules Committee on Softball officially standardized the rules. It grew so much that it eventually reached the absolute pinnacle of international sports, the Olympics. Now, in a pretty significant shift, the International Olympic Committee actually held a vote in July 2005 to drop softball for the 2012 Summer Games. But softball's massive global popularity literally could not be denied, and that widespread passion eventually forced its triumphant return to the Olympics in 2020. Talk about a comeback. We actually owe the official name of the sport to Walter Hackinson of the YMCA. He officially coined the term softball in 1926 during a pivotal meeting of the National Recreation Congress. It was a simple naming convention, but it was absolutely crucial because it finally gave a unified identity to a rapidly growing sport. Now here's a fun fact for you. Before Hawkinson came along, and before that 1934 standardization, you might have been invited to play indoor baseball or diamond ball. Or, depending on exactly where you lived, you might have played the highly amusing kitten ball, mush ball, or, my personal favorite, pumpkin ball. I mean, with names like pumpkin ball and mush ball floating around, it is incredibly easy to see why a standardized name and rulebook became absolutely necessary to legitimize the sport. Section 2. Essential softball equipment. Let's look at the specific gear you need to safely and effectively play the game. The most fundamental object, naturally, is the softball itself. Now, despite its name, it isn't exactly soft, but it is noticeably larger and typically slightly softer than a standard baseball. This extra size completely changes the physics of the entire game. It alters exactly how pitchers grip the ball, it forces a dynamic underhand pitching motion, and it drastically changes the trajectory and speed of a hit when the bat makes contact. It's a whole different ballgame. Let's look at the offensive gear. When you step up to the plate, you're going to swing a bat, which can be made of aluminum, composite materials, or classic wood. The choice here is highly strategic. For example, composite bats offer a massive sweet spot and incredible pop off the barrel. Traditional wood, on the other hand, that requires extreme precision from the hitter. But regardless of what you swing, you absolutely must wear a protective batting helmet. Many of these helmets also include specialized face guards to provide additional, crucial protection from head injuries, because safety on the diamond is paramount. Switching to the defensive side of the ball, every single player wears a specialized catching glove. And what's really fascinating here is that these gloves vary significantly in size and design depending on the player's specific position on the field. A catcher's mitt has extra padding to handle blistering fastballs, while a first baseman's glove is longer and actually lacks individual finger slots so they can easily scoop errant throws right out of the dirt. Down on their feet, players wear cleats. These are specialized shoes with metal, rubber, or molded plastic spikes to provide crucial traction on the dirt and grass. Add in a durable, comfortable uniform, and you are fully geared up and ready to go. Section 3. Player positions and roles. The spatial organization of a softball team is just a beautiful piece of sporting architecture. Let's figure out exactly where everyone stands.
The spatial layout of the diamond essentially dictates everything. The bases, first, second, third, and home plate, sit at fixed geometric coordinates, forming that iconic diamond shape. This precise map dictates exactly where the defensive players will set up their formations to trap and stop the offense.
When a team takes the field on defense, they rely on 9 players in total. The defense is heavily weighted toward the center of the action. You've got 6 infielders guarding the dirt in the bases, and they are supported by 3 outfielders who have the massive, high-speed job of covering the deep grass.
So, we can break these 9 athletes into 2 distinct ecosystems, the infield and the outfield. The infield houses your pitcher, catcher, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, and shortstop. Beyond the dirt, the outfield features your left, center, and right fielders. Each zone demands a completely different breed of athlete, bringing highly unique physical skills to the game. Let's break those down.
The dynamic duo at the absolute center of the infield is known as the battery, the pitcher and the catcher. The pitcher needs a strong arm, extreme accuracy, mental toughness, and quick reflexes to throw strikes and field balls right near the mound. Directly opposite them, crouching behind home plate, is the catcher. The catcher requires a strong arm, rapid reflexes, and the sheer grit to handle physical contact. But crucially, they are the on-field strategists. They communicate directly with the pitcher using subtle hand signals to call the pitches, and they are entirely responsible for preventing stolen bases and aggressively fielding short bunts. Rounding out the rest of the infield dirt, we have the baseman and the shortstop. The first baseman needs excellent catching ability to receive rapid throws and lock in those outs. The second baseman and shortstop field the balls hit right up the middle, they cover second base on steal attempts, and they require incredible acrobatic agility to quickly turn double plays. Then, over at third base, which is affectionately known as the hot corner because right-handed batters pull the ball there at just blistering speeds, the third baseman needs lightning-quick reflexes to field those hard-hit balls, plus a powerful arm to make the long cross-diamond throw all the way to first base.
Meanwhile, out in the deep grass, the outfielders act as the final, critical line of defense. The left, center, and right fielders rely on top-tier sprinting speed and absolute cannons for arms. Their job is to track and catch high-fly balls, back up the infielders on errant throws, and make massive, highly accurate throws all the way back to the infield to stop advancing runners. The center fielder, in particular, is the absolute captain of the outfield. They require exceptional speed because they have to cover a truly vast amount of ground, roaming the absolute deepest parts of the park.
Section 4. Rules and scoring runs. You now know the field and the roles, so let's learn how to actually win this thing. The crucial point here is the number 7. Unlike baseball, which stretches out to 9, a standard official game of softball consists of exactly 7 innings. This makes the game incredibly fast-paced and high stakes right from the very first pitch. Each of these 7 innings is divided into a top half, where the visiting team bats, and a bottom half, where the home team gets their turn at the plate. The team with the most runs at the end of these 7 innings wins, and if it's tied, well, you play intense extra innings until a winner is finally determined. Your team's turn to hit in an inning ends when the opposing defense manages to get 3 outs. They can achieve these outs in a few specific ways. There's a strikeout against the batter, there's a flyout, which is catching a hit ball before it even touches the ground, there's a tagout, where a fielder tags a runner directly with the ball, and they can also get a force out by simply stepping on a base that the runner is legally forced to advance to. Once 3 outs are recorded, boom, the inning flips and the teams switch sides. To secure those strikeouts, the pitcher must precisely target the strike zone. Think of this zone as an invisible, 3-dimensional rectangle floating straight over home plate, situated right between the batter's knees and shoulders. If the pitcher expertly threads the ball through this zone and the batter doesn't swing, the umpire calls it a strike. 3 strikes and you're out. When you are the batter on offense, you have one singular goal: to score a run. You do this by surviving a tactical gauntlet. First, you have to reach first base. You can do this by hitting the ball into play without being put out, or by exercising immense patience for a walk, which happens if the pitcher throws 4 inaccurate pitches outside the strike zone. From there, you have to safely navigate to second, survive the dangerous trek to third, and finally make it all the way back to touch home plate. Complete that circuit, and you score 1 run for your team. Now, to help runners successfully complete that circuit, players use a variety of clever tactical strategies. A powerful batter might crush a home run over the outfield fence in fair territory, allowing them and any runners currently on base to automatically score. Or a team might use pure speed to steal a base while the pitcher is in the middle of delivering the ball to home plate. They might also execute a bunt, which is a very light tap of the ball without a full swing. A bunt is often used as a selfless sacrifice, meaning the batter willingly gives themselves up as an out simply so their teammate can advance into a much better scoring position. And finally, smart teams constantly look to capitalize on defensive errors. That's when a fielder misplays a ball, allowing runners to advance bases they otherwise never would have reached. We have covered the standardized rules, the essential gear, the spatial layout of the diamond, and the highly specific physical skills required for every single position on the field. So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up. Based on your own personal sprinting speed, your agility, your mental toughness, and your arm strength, which softball position on the field are you choosing to master? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.